So do we have another guest from the cast?
Yes, we
join us
do.
tonight?
Mr. Ethan Keogh is on with us.
Do we have that contact
Yes, we do.
request?
We have his. It's down here. Just go into Just go down to contacts. Yeah, go down to E.
Down to E. Imagine that.
Surprise. There he is, right there.
And Ethan is standing by.
Yes, he is.
So tell us about Ethan's role in the film.
Ethan plays one of the most iconic roles in the film as Dr. Murray Konkin.
And what is the significance of having a character named Dr. Konkin in the film alongside Knight?
Oh, might it be the name of Neil's chief compadre and, dare I say, partner in crime, Mr. Samuel Edward Konkin III?
More than that, philosophical inspiration, no?
Oh, absolutely.
Ethan, welcome to the show.
Hi, guys. Thanks.
Thanks so much for joining us. So tell us, how did you first get involved in this project?
I've known Neil for several years. I was in Neil's first movie, Lady Magdalene's.
And what was your role in that?
I was the lead role in that movie.
What was your name in it?
You know, it was a lot of years ago, guys.
Might it have been Mr. Jack Goldwater?
That's exactly right. You guys do your homework, and that's why I was testing you like that. Well done.
And Mr. Goldwater, what would be the significance of a character named Mr. Goldwater? Ethan, you got all the fun, clever roles, don't you?
What was your occupation, Agent Goldwater?
I was an ATF agent who was sent to run a legal brothel in Nevada.
Yes, folks, that is correct.
Neil's other cinematic adventure.
Oh, brilliant movie, by the way.
So, Ethan,
tell me. Liked it.
I loved it.
This was really, I got to be there for 2 days of this of the shooting, and it really was, I have pretty limited knowledge of the film industry. I had a girlfriend that worked, as a double on sets and
Sure.
in other capacities, and kind of got that glimpse of Hollywood. And this is an independent film. It seems like it was a really tight crew. It was a really fun organization. But I know that they were only just putting that on to convince me for 2 days. Tell us about this. How does this compare to other projects you've worked on? What was it like working on the film?
No, actually, you got the right impression. This is a relatively, not relatively. This is a small, in terms of, if you look at Hollywood budget movies, this is a small movie. And small movies are great to work on for that very reason. It's a small crew, but everybody gets to know everybody else. It's sort of like a family for that month that you're on set. So I think you had the right impression. It was a lot of fun to work on. Everybody was really tight.
Now, do you think that has to do with the core message of the film, and that there are so many people that are in Neil's core crew who are as passionate about the philosophy as he is?
Yeah, Neil definitely likes to surround himself
with ditto heads.
Yeah.
No.
Well, they're not.
Hey, that's something that we all do, and certainly the cinematographer Pat, who's just an amazing guy and an amazing cinematographer, is of like mind, as is the editor Kent, and
Yes.
That's what happens. You build like a strong group of people and of like mind. Sure.
And how do you feel about kind of a great deal of the Lady Magdalene's, kind of the bands getting back together with Mara and Susan also being a part of this?
Yeah, I didn't get to see either one of them, which was a total bummer for me.
I'm sorry, that is right, yeah.
Yeah, we weren't on set together. But Scott McDonald, the
Scott,
second unit cinematographer.
You got it.
Was also a holdover. He came back for this as well. He's a great guy. I miss Mara and Susan a lot. I'd love to see them again. But it was a great group of people on Lady Magdalene's too. This was a tighter group of people. This was more like a family. And I think part of that too was Neil. you know, last time was his first time out of the gate, and this time he was a little more sure of himself. He was a little more confident, and things went more smoothly, I would say.
Well, it's certainly a testament to his managerial capability. And by the way, that was the one thing I got a real appreciation for, being able to see, you know, for what I had for those 2 days. I felt like I got a good picture of, you know, the entire logistical operation. And
Yeah.
holy crap, you know, it's commanding an army and all the different moving pieces that you have. And the fact that Neil's got so many people coming back after the first project, I mean, I can imagine if I was in charge of that, no one would ever want to work with me again. But, you know, Neil, go ahead, Ethan.
No. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, just let me ask then. Do you think that there's part of this is driven by his passion and the fact that people? Yeah, I think that at least when I was there was a sense that everybody was on a mission together. There were people that were sort of, I mean, yeah, you have such a big crew that there are people there to just get along and they're just doing their jobs and they're just there for the paycheck. But overall, it had a feel that to me was distinct from most ventures I've been involved with, except in the realm of activism, where it felt like people were there because they were on a mission, not just to make the film, but to make it an effective way to at very least stimulate thought. And there are some people on the cast and crew that's their only involvement. That's the extent of their engagement. They appreciate that it's an independent film that's doing that in a fun, exciting way through fiction. And then there are like you mentioned, the really hardcore. But it seems like everybody's on a mission. Do you think that contributed to that dynamic?
I think it probably did. Because, like I said before, that core group really is on a mission. But the other thing that happens, and this is just more of the Hollywood side, is when you make a movie with a budget like this. Yes, it's a big crew, and it's a full-on feature film, and you're doing it. But part of what happens with a budget like this one is you're kind of hanging on by your fingernails, and it forces you to think creative and to be proactive all the time. And this is true of the actors somewhat, but it's more true for the crew. Like the level of like constant problem solving, and either people get on board with that or they don't. And in this one, people did, and that's exciting. And it's really fun to work on a project where it has that kind of chutzpah and people really get behind it.
So how libertarian are you, Ethan? How much do you see the importance of getting people to think this way as we come to some of these social government-oriented crises that Neil predicted we would be coming to now 40 years ago? Yeah,
it's pretty interesting. I'm not a libertarian. I'm a registered independent.
That's a start. It's a start.
Well, I definitely don't want to, at this point, be associated with either the Republicans or the Democrats. That's for sure. But while I don't agree with Neil on several things, I think Neil's great in that he has such a strong point of view. He thinks about it a lot, and he challenges other people to think. And I think that's a super important thing in the times we're living in. I think we all have to be thinking a lot harder about the world, about how we're shaping the world, how the world is shaping us, and using creative problem solving to get us through these times, for sure.
And how do you feel, especially, I mean, as much as you've said you're an independent, but I mean, especially, what was it like, what are your thoughts on, you played the role of, that was effectively the embodiment in the novel of Neil's dear friend and, one of his big philosophical mentors, Samuel L. Konkin III. I mean, what were your thoughts on that when you were given the role?
It's true, I did. I didn't really realize the weight of it, I think, when he asked me to play the role. But certainly when I showed up on set, it was really obvious. Neil was particularly attuned to what he had written for me and the character, yes, but also how I was interpreting it. It was extremely important to him, and there was more than one occasion where he pulled me aside and he was like, "This is the theme of my movie. What you're about to say, what you just said, is like the theme. This is the reason I'm making the movie." And I got shivers from the way you said it, and it was actually it's a little bit of pressure, actually, what it was. But hopefully I've made him happy.
Well, it must have been crazy in the film playing the role of this great moral champion of this simple message of liberty, of respect for fellow human beings, of the logical application of these principles of nonviolence and non-aggression and the self-ownership principle, and this idea that you as a free, beautiful human being own yourself, and to not actually believe in them. That must have been quite frustrating for you. How is it that you were so exposed to this beautiful philosophy?
Sure. Sorry, what's that?
How is it that you were exposed in this role as the champion of this beautiful philosophy, and have not yet accepted the principle of non-aggression in your heart?
Actually, the character, I'm not sure. The character was certainly inspired by Konkin,
Yes.
Neil's friend. But he was inspired by there were two people Neil told me there were two people that inspired this character. And in the film, my Dr. Konkin actually has not embraced the principles of nonviolence. My Dr. Konkin wanted to go out and kick some butts and take some names. He wanted to affect the change personally.
That's a good point.
And sent Lieutenant LaRue to do the job.
Yeah, that's true, actually. But
Touché.
But I think from an actor's point of view, the question is, are you, Ethan, as a person, a man of strong beliefs? And the answer would be yes. And then,
yes.
Because if you're not, if you're a wishy-washy person, it's really hard to play a character who holds strong beliefs and that affects how they move out into the world. But I am a person of strong beliefs, and my beliefs might not have all lined up with Konkin's, but that doesn't mean that he and I aren't related, if that makes sense.
Fair enough. Well, let me just ask one final question then.
Sure.
What do you hope the impact of this film to be?
That's a really hard question. You always the reason I say that's hard is because you always want big, amazing things when you're involved in it. I do when I'm involved in a creative project. I would love for people to see the movie, and the more the merrier, and hopefully they'll be entertained. And if it challenges their beliefs or makes them think twice about how they're living or engaging with the world, then that is a total bonus. I mean, that would be A plus, I guess.
Outstanding. We all hope that's at least going to be the start of the impact of this film. We know that everybody who sees it will be confronted with some different ways of looking at the world, and at very least stimulate some important thought. Ethan, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
My pleasure. Thanks, guys.
Right out.